So Andy, good old Andy, has made a personal commitment to donate 15% of his salary every month to support ABEN. ABN is what? Sorry.
A bed every night.
A bed every night.
So that's his homeless project.
So basically, good old Andy's giving 15% of his salary to support ABN. Why is this just generally a sickening pledge, Nick?
So, to be fair to him, he's been doing this for 7 years. So he's been in post 7 years. Every month he donates 15% of his salary. I think it works out about roughly 20 grand a year, which is a substantial amount of money. It's great publicity. It's virtue signalling. And my main point on this is, Andy, I'd like you to keep all your wages but solve rough sleeping in Greater Manchester. To me, it seems like he knows he can't solve rough sleeping, and this is the penalty he imposes upon himself for not fixing our rough sleeping crisis. So he's penalising himself. It's like he works all year for his wage, and at the end of the year he goes, I don't deserve all that because I'm crap. I'm going to give the taxpayer, but he doesn't even give the taxpayer it back. He puts it into his own project to help rough sleeping and makes him look like he's a virtuous person. It just annoys me.
And if you were standing in front of him, what would you say to him about that?
Keep all the money and fix the problem. Or use that 15% to hire somebody else to fix the problem. But stop giving me excuses, and stop giving me excuse you can't fix it, and then you're penalising yourself for it. Fix the problem, or resign and step down, and give someone else a chance to fix the problem instead of handing someone the money back.
And you've made the point here that this was his first manifesto promise, is that correct?
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
7 years ago he said, within 3 years I will end rough sleeping in Greater Manchester. Within 3 years.
Yeah, and he hasn't.
His first couple of years it dropped quite a bit, because he spent £500 million on it, and then ever since then it's been going up again. It's almost as bad today as it was 7 years ago, and he's still spending millions of pounds on it every year now and achieving nothing. I'm going to put a tweet on the screen now, so we can't see it, but it's there.
You're going to do it, okay.
I tweeted Andy Burnham before Christmas saying, Andy, you've not lived up to your promise. It's been 7 years now. You said you'd fix it in 3. And he replied back to me on Twitter and said, I think you'll find there's spare beds in Greater Manchester every night. I think you'll find I've lived up to my promise that I made 6 years ago. And my reply was, your promise wasn't to have spare beds in Greater Manchester. Your promise was to end rough sleeping. Anybody in any city centre, town centre in Greater Manchester, it's not even just Greater, it's not even the city centre anymore now, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
We see people.
Yeah.
The fact you've got some spare beds just means your project's incompetent. Because why have you got spare beds when we can see people living on the streets? You haven't ended it. That was the promise, that was the pledge you made to end rough sleeping. He hasn't done it. How much longer do we give this man to solve this problem?
That's a really good point.
I can solve it in 1 year.
Okay.
I can solve rough sleeping in 1 year with a fraction of the money he's got.
How will you solve rough sleeping in a year, Nick?
I'm going to end begging in a couple of months, so there'll be no more begging. So nobody new will want to come to Greater Manchester because there's no more begging.
So that the police will just grab somebody who's begging, will they?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Not grab. They'll be moved on for the first couple of weeks, and they'll be, and then if they carry on, they'll be arrested. You'll spend all day in custody. You won't go to court, but you'll spend all day in custody while we process you. Then we'll give you a warning and send you out. No point clogging the courts up with someone begging. And it'll get to a stage where people will go, there's no point begging in Greater Manchester. By the time I sit down, I've got a police officer there. If they search me, they confiscate my drugs off me. So I've lost my drugs. I make no money anymore now. So what's the point of sitting there? I just get hassle after hassle after hassle. So that will stop new people coming to Greater Manchester to make money for drugs. And then I'm going to open a set of hostels in warehouses with camp beds in garden sheds, and we get people off the street the minute we meet them. None of this you've got to wait for a bed, or can you come to the town hall and register? No, we'll get people on the street straight away. It won't be luxurious accommodation because that just attracts people to Greater Manchester. It'll be safe accommodation. And then we need to tackle some of the other problems connected to it. But it can be done in a year.
You actually physically get people off the streets if they're sleeping and say, right, come with me now.
We'll pay for taxis, we'll pay for minibus, we'll take their dogs, we'll take their belongings. Any excuse not to come with us, we'll overcome.
Yeah.
And the ones who then still won't get help, we're then going to have to look at some of the mental health legislation and take him into protective custody because you're killing yourself on the street, and we're not willing to have that done. All can be done, it just takes someone with a backbone.
So why hasn't Andy Burnham done this?
Has got a backbone. Andy Burnham employed the same people to help him with his rough sleeping problem that were running the rough sleeping services in Greater Manchester for the last 20, 30 years. So the people who couldn't solve it over 20, 30 years are the people he's got running his services now. And we expect a different outcome with the same people.
You almost get the impression he's not really interested in Manchester. You almost get the impression he just does a lot of talking, but then he's doing other things.
Yeah, the thing he's doing and he's spending most of his time doing is trying to become Prime Minister. That was his aim, becoming mayor. He wants to use the backs of the people of Greater Manchester to promote his career, ready for when he gets to Parliament, to stab Keir Starmer in the back and become Prime Minister. That's what he's always wanted, which is a great aim, a great aspiration. Good for him for aiming for the stars. But you shouldn't achieve your dream on the backs of other people.
Well, on the backs of Greater Manchester voters and taxes, I guess.
If you like that video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell and comment. And if you like what I'm saying about running for Mayor of Greater Manchester, then stick around. Tell your family, tell your friends. The only way I'm going to have a chance of winning is a grassroots movement. So be part of that movement and hit that bell. Thanks.